Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Haley Mitchell-Haugen. I am the editor of Sheila-Na-Gig Online and Sheila-Na-Gig Editions. And tonight we have gathered to celebrate Jennifer Schomburg Kanke with the publication of her newest collection, Little Stone, Little Stone. If you've been on Facebook and other platforms this week, I hope you've seen Jennifer's promotions for the book. We can all take a lesson from Jennifer in book promotion. She's amazing. I'm pretty sure you're the only poet I know who has a soundtrack, right, for her book, right? So a mixtape for the book, and I haven't listened to them yet, but I definitely will. That's really exciting. And she's been showing individual readings of poems from the book and showed her bookmarks when they came in, and just really creating a lot of buzz. But we know the book itself, creates that buzz as well. But I just want to commend you on the huge effort, because it's great to see the book out, and about. And I know you're going to be doing lots of readings and things as well. So that's lots of fun. So I'm going to read just the little blurb on the back of the book. It's a little bit of background about the book and Jennifer's bio, in case you don't know her, just as a little introduction. And then we get to enjoy Jen's reading. So here we go. Little Stone is one woman's journey in search of a metaphor other than battling for what it means to go through cancer treatment. Some word other than warrior and survivor to say who she is. These poems embody radical honesty tempered with self-compassion, while also celebrating the individual lives of celebrities who have had ovarian cancer. So the book is very personal, coming from that experience, but it also, opens up to so many other topics and gives us a little taste of celebrity life as well, which is, I think, makes it very unique and interesting there. So a little bit about Jen. Jennifer Schomburg Kanke was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, stage 2, in May of 2019. And so the pandemic, was not enough for us, right? You had that on top of it a little earlier before then, and went through 6 rounds of chemotherapy that summer. Her work has recently appeared in the New Ohio Review, Pleiades, Massachusetts Review, Shenandoah, and Crab Orchard Review. Her first poetry collection, The Swellest Wife Anyone Ever Had, is about an Appalachian housewife in the mid-20th century, from Kelsey Books. She sporadically hosts the Meter Cute interview series on the Beer and Mayhem Substack and YouTube channel, and serves as a member of the board of Anhinga Press. And she's also a longtime contributor to Sheila-Na-Gig Online and various other Sheila-Na-Gig projects. So it's a huge honor to have this opportunity to publish your book, Jen, and continue to support your poetry. So welcome.
Thank you, Haley, for that wonderful introduction. I can't even begin to tell you all how exciting it is for me to be part of the Sheila-Na-Gig family. This has just been a wonderful experience so far, and so yay! Before I dig into the poems, I also want to say, if you've ordered a book through Sheila-Na-Gig and you want it autographed, I have little stickers that I can sign and send out to you. So if you feel comfortable giving me your address and stuff, just contact me probably through Facebook or something like that, and I can get you one of those if that's the thing that you want to have. I'm not going to do too much preamble for the first poem. I'm just going to dig straight in. And this one is called Better For. A man has brought his own lunch, or had it brought to him by his wife. I can't turn down free stuff, so eat a sandwich that comes with the chair. A meal fit for a ribbon warrior. I wish there was a better metaphor to use. My body has done this all to protect itself. From what? I'm not sure. What I fight is my own full self, my own overreaction. Or maybe we're warriors because we do as we're told. Follow orders, good little soldiers trusting our commanders and their methods are safe, beyond sponsored studies and researcher bias. I find the exact right words hard to come by. So I think I'll just go ahead and write a lot of the wrong ones instead. So, as Haley mentioned, there are poems that are about um, my own experiences, and then there are things that are also about celebrities. And of the 31 celebrities that there are poems about in the collection, um, they did not all die from ovarian cancer. Two of them lived many, many, many years past their diagnosis and lived in remission. And this next poem is about one of those people. It's for Carol Channing, an American actress. A lot of folks know her from Broadway, but also some movies and lots of talk shows and game shows. And she lived from 1921 to 2019. She lived to be 97. This is called Oh, Carol, Behave. Grammys and Tonys, Golden Globes, and more. But your grandest achievement of all was making it onto Nixon's list. Your cheerful smile and Cupid doll eyes were unnerving and frightful to a man like that. Some say it was when you campaigned for LBJ, others because you were friends with the Kennedys. A few say it was because you were black. But no, only family knew that then. You know and I know it's because of Sardi's. How you'd whip out your Tupperware full of cut celery and carrots, drinking water with ice, while everyone else had steak and wine. A woman who does what she wants, never let her out of your sight. This next poem is for a Canadian plus-size model, Ellie Mayday. She lived from 1988 to 2019. This is called Malignant Weight Loss Plan for Rising Stars. This is your body. It's wasting away, and no one believes that's not helping. 10 pounds, 20 pounds, just a few pounds more. Surely you feel better now. Surely your core is stronger now. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and 4. You go to the ER. Sit in the over-chilled makeshift rooms, listening to doctors set broken legs, stitch up cuts and dog bites. Big girl living in this tiny world, though it's bigger than the one you grew up in. Shrink yourself down until all that remains is a cyst once the size of a pebble or a pea. And in this next poem, we're back to my own experiences. And this one is called No One's Going to Tell a Cancer Patient Her Stitches Won't Hold. The skirt has gone off now to Goodwill. With its misaligned tiers and whopper-jawed hem, what a delight it will be for someone once it's bleached and tagged, assigned an approximate size. Good luck with that. Or maybe it will end up at the dump, lost among all those unsellable donations people hoped would find new lives somewhere. I sewed it in the days between infusions on the big brown couch in my living room while watching Pushing Daisies or iZombie, shows where someone plucky and lovable beat death. Everyone told me what a beautiful job I'd done. A comforting lie I let linger in my ears. But yeah, seriously, y'all, that skirt was terrible. There are pictures up on Facebook, and I've used it as the thumbnail on a couple of the YouTube videos. And I look at it and I'm like, I went to work in that skirt. Oh, it's so bad. This next poem is a prose poem, so you won't hear too many line breaks. But this one is called Pain Manager. I will not take the opioids they offer me after they put a port in my chest. Not because it's the same kind of thing that's trapped so many members of my family already. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to stop counting now. If I tell you how many addicts there are in my family and my parents read this, then they'll wonder who I'm counting and who I don't yet know about. Then they'll wonder if maybe there are some on my list that they don't even know about. So let's leave it at a magical 3, since that's got nothing to do with me. I will not take the opioids they offer me because for people like me, we steamrollers of productivity, alchemists of tangible goodness, acolytes of the satisfying crossing off of the to-do list. For us, pain is the only thing we'll listen to, and sometimes not even that. Pain reminds me to be human, reminds me there's really only one final outcome here, and I should probably stop doing shit that hastens it. Thank you, little calendar alert pain. I hear you over the treacle sweet nurse telling me, live your life just like you were before, just like other people do. Chemo won't need to slow you down at all. I cling to you to tap me on the shoulder, to tell me nothing's wrong with soft slippers and a really good TV show, that rest is not the most vile of all four-letter words. It seems really ironic to me to be promoting and doing things for a book where I think one of the main messages is like, it's okay to chill out. It's okay to not push yourself all the time. And then to be like pushing myself doing promo and stuff. I just find it's kind of funny, kind of ironic. But I love it. So whatever. This next one is actually about one of my neighbors, or rather the tree in her yard. And this is called Jeannie's Tree Better Not Be a Metaphor for Cancer in My Body. When I started walking after, as suggested by my doctors, some days I couldn't make it down there to their house right at the corner, with the trumpet vines and the azaleas, with the creepers climbing sunward up the trunk of the tall slash pine right outside their chain link fence. How I wanted to pull it down, yank its tendrils with one motion, beautiful, fluid, and triumphant. Me, the savior of the poor tree. Me, the one setting its branches free. Fear no more the coming shadows. Fear no more the gale-force storm winds. But the bark and vines were mated. Removing one would take the other, leave the tree open to borers, leave the tree all naked softwood. So I left it growing skyward. Should have asked for its forgiveness. And I've got just a few more poems left, and the next two poems are long poems. One of them is actually a sonnet crown, and the other's just multi-part. So I've decided that because I'm doing quite a few readings, that I'm only going to read a few parts of each of those poems. That way, if somebody wants to come to multiple readings, they're at least getting a little something different each time, and trying to shift, change stuff up a little bit. So this is part of the sonnet crown, and they're all about my hair, because hair is this huge thing during chemo. And I feel like sometimes my take on it might be a little bit different than some folks. So I'm going to read the first two, or actually, I'm just going to read the first sonnet from it, from My Crowning Glory. Because I hadn't a clue how to care for myself, my father cut the rats from my hair that night, after trying first to pick them apart with gentle hands rough calloused from loud machines. The clock ticked forward in another room. The black and white TV sat atop of the one that broken months ago, a color set, its glass still cracked beyond repair. We talked of something, who remembers what, but just when the commercials were on to fill the space between the scenes of someone else's story. One about a little girl who cared for man and beast alike. A sweet, sweet girl who never needed to stay up late like this. And so then there are more poems as part of that crown that interlock. So the last line of one poem becomes the first line of the next poem. And so hopefully you'll get a copy of the book and you'll be able to check out that whole crown yourself. Yes, yeah, it's like a little teaser. So this next poem is really just an excuse to tell you the symptoms of ovarian cancer, and I could not come up with a good title for it, and so it is literally called Poem That's Just an Excuse to Tell You the Symptoms of Ovarian Cancer. Ovarian cancer is the deadliest gynecological cancer and one of the deadliest cancers overall. And it's not because of anything specifically about the kind of cancer or the speed it moves, but rather because it's usually caught pretty late because most of the symptoms are so similar to perimenopause. And the number one age group that it affects are perimenopausal women. So it often is not caught until stage 4. And I'm incredibly lucky that they caught it so early. Um, yeah, they often, if they catch it at stage 1, usually it means that they just caught it when they were doing something else kind of on accident, a happy accident. So to catch it at 2A is still pretty good. And knock on wood, I've been in remission since 2019. Um, this poem is also a way for me to complain a little bit about the trying to job search on the academic job market when I didn't know that I was incredibly sick at the time. So I'm going to read the first 2 sections of it. Section 1, Digestive Changes. Interview, small 2-year college, March 2015. While part of my brain organizes lesson plans and tries to remember the school's mission statement, another is hearing Dr. G when I complained about painful periods and acid reflux. Carrots and peanuts randomly a problem. Telling me it would all go away if I lost a pound. Or 2. Better yet, how about 10? 2. Pelvic pain. Interview, large public 4-year college regional campus, May 2017. Something's wrong, but I don't know it yet. Or rather, I don't know how awfully wrong it has still to become. I think it's just the same old wrong it's always been. Though not always, just the last few years. But that's close enough to always to dismiss it as normal. Pressure in my pelvis, anger at the world, but only 3 days a month. Struggling to balance a 4-4 course load while applying for jobs with 5-5s and 6-6s. Turning down a second interview. I can't explain to my friend on the search committee how scared I am by the thought of that schedule. Something is wrong, but I don't want her to think that I think she works too much. Don't want her to think I deserve more. Or I guess it's more like less. Sometimes less is more. And to find out the rest of it's like reading Rainbow. Read the book to find out the rest. But you can also find them on the Ovarian Cancer Research Association's website and lots of other places that do good work doing ovarian cancer research. The big thing is to know if it's a change, if it's a difference. That's one of the sort of the key things. That and ease of satiety. So part of the reason that I wrote this book was also just to get more awareness because it is a cancer that doesn't get a lot of attention. So I'm doing my bit, I guess. This last poem that I'm going to read, I love TV. Anybody who knows me or knows my writing, I talk about TV a lot and shows. And this one is actually from after watching the new Four Seasons show on Netflix, which is incredibly good. And so then I kind of went down this rabbit hole and I watched the old movie, and I did not watch the TV show they did in like the late 70s or 80s. But in going down that rabbit hole, I encountered that one of the women had died from ovarian cancer. And I was like, man, I'm almost done with my book. And this is about that experience of and even just the other day, after we'd already gone through the proofs, I saw that Chris Everett has ovarian cancer. And people just kept popping up. And so this is called, I'm going to change the title just a little bit, specifically for tonight. It's called, This Reading is Too Long. This reading will never be long enough. It's really, this book is too long. Sorry, that's my own worry that I'm going on too long. Anyway, I'm going to read this poem. This book is too long. This book will never be long enough. Every day I find another name to add to my list of poems to write. All the names wait for me in the dark like little memento mori jump scares. A theorist, a painter, an actress I come across quite by accident while following an IMDb rabbit hole that started by watching the original film they've based a new TV show on. The first show based on it failed miserably, but that was 40 years ago. They hope this one is going to have a better run. I could fill a million books and still leave someone out. Still forget to talk about a million thoughts I've scribbled on the cardboard backings of cheap spiral-bound notebooks I've already filled near up. May I have time to write them all. May you have time to read them all. May our names be on no one's list for a very, very long time. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. And I don't think anyone here would mind you going on and reading the whole book for us. There's so much there to enjoy and ponder and be thankful for, and just everything. It's just a remarkable collection. So thank you so much. Next, we'll be changing gears, and we're going to hear from some of our Sheila-Na-Gig online and other Sheila-Na-Gig edition book authors. I'll be reading just a couple poems, and we are going to start off in Washington State with Jessica Barksdale. Hi, Jess.
Hi, Jennifer. I've really enjoyed your reading. It wasn't long enough. I don't want to be on the list, but I could listen a very long time. And I really appreciate you writing about ovarian cancer. I'm actually going to be reading from Grim Honey tonight, my book with Sheila-Na-Gig, and a couple of the poems in there about a friend of mine who really grappled for 20 years with ovarian cancer. And so I just really, everything you read really resonated. So thank you. Thank you. So I wrote Grim Honey, and Haley helped me birth this into the world a few years ago. And I just thought it'd be fun to read from it. And I thought I'd start with the titular poem, Grim Honey. I try to break up, be done already, but memories twist inside me, mismanaged, yanking hard. Break, an irreverent verb, to hold with slivered palms. They may have died, bodies disgorging potent juices, their last days bruises on the permanent record, but they're still here, poisonous, delicious sugar cubes of story, moths to the lemon, slippery wax on the floor I always walk on. I may hate them, but I love a few like a hammer, something I can smash regularly. Sorrow, a nail. Ache, a door, desperate to be demolished. Melancholy, a hopeless meteor I miss, image blurry in the telescope. Once my dead sister asked, "Did Halley's Comet ever land?" We laughed so hard we peed ourselves. She's the comet flinging toward us, steady as a ring, around and around. She's the grim honey from last year's harvest, a sweet, ambered fossil slicing my tongue with each sharp lick. And the second poem I'm going to read is based on a poem by Naomi Shihab Nye, and it's titled "I Forget About Fame." The river is famous to the fish, the way the sky is famous to an airplane, the freeway famous to a car, my house famous to me, my office, desk, and chair, mostly my chair, famous to my body, mostly my ass. My mother's reclining chair is famous to her ass, as is my husband's work chair famous to his rear. Let's party, bottoms up. But wait, we're all sitting too much, nothing to celebrate, and thus varicose veins are famous to our legs, diabetes famous to all our organs, heart disease famous to our circulatory systems, obesity famous to our skeletons. Imagine them, x-ray wise, thin bones pulling a rippled swell of hanging fatty folds, a flap with each flat fleshy step. What work? The skeletons should not be famous, but in this poem, excuse me, the skeletons should be famous, but in this poem, they are not. What should be famous is too time-consuming, overwhelming, painful. Something to be forgotten, avoided, so much easier than to be bad, to make famous the things that hurt us, like sugar, which is famous to our adrenals, alcohol famous to our livers, drugs famous to our elaborate edifices constructed of denial, fear, and apathy. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be bad. I want my skeleton to sit easy in my chair until it is time to pull my adequate proportion of fat to the backyard. I'm wearing sunscreen so the sunlight is not famous to my skin cancer, which I don't have. Not in this revision. No, I'm outside breathing in the air that is happily famous to my clear lungs. I walk the stone path. On feet I can feel, touch the mounded grasses that are famous to the dirt, and the dirt that is famous to them. The wind blows through the elm. I forget about fame. Thank you.
Whew, what a start to this evening. Wow. So there were so many lines Jen, in your reading that I wanted to catch. I'm really glad I have the book coming because it'll be a lot easier. You know, sometimes we put lines in the chat that we hear, and I could not keep up. And Jessica, I would have written your lines down too, but I just couldn't. It's all too much, too much. So I'm Wendy McVicker, and I'm in Southeast Ohio. And I'm so grateful to be here and be part of this community. And I'm going to read two poems. I'm going to start with one that's in the summer issue. It's a summer poem. It's called One Summer Night. We lived for a week in a tiny, thin-walled rental at the shore, flimsy as a box of saltines, where we, the ragged crumbs, salt and sand crusted, rolled and tumbled in and out of the great gray-green sea. Nothing else to do until one night when the boathouse across the way burst into flames. I bet they could see all the way to Wildwood. We got on our borrowed bikes and joined the other summer kids, maybe the all year round kids too, and rode as close as we dared to roaring, heat spitting, fire brighter than fireworks flames cheered or wanted to, as rafters blackened and fell in sprays of gold, as walls went hollow and collapsed until we were shooed away, dampened. What did we know of fire's merciless power to wipe the world clean of all our traces? Desire simmered inside us, ready to boil over. We wanted some of that power for ourselves. And I have a book pending from Sheila-Na-Gig, and I'm going to read called Meander Lines. So stay tuned, and I'll see if I can take a tip or two from Jen about promotion. That's not, yeah, I'm deeply impressed. Okay, so I'm going to read a short poem from Meander Lines, and this is called Salt. These are both ocean poems. Curious. We came from the salt sea, and we sprinkle salt on our food to remind us of home. We crave the taste of salt on our tongues, of salt on our lovers' lips. When it snows, as it did here yesterday, our hearts hum like tuning forks to the salt sparkle on branches and in the dark hedge. Here in the heartland that beats so fierce, I dream of the ocean. The moon and her tides draw me to the edge of land. If I ever get there, I will not look back. I will turn to salt. Thank you.
That was really wonderful, Wendy. There are really some great poems tonight. Um, I'm George Franklin, and I've got two poems. The first one I'll read is from the current issue of Sheila. Um, it's called Bizcocho. We sat on a bench eating bizcocho out of a paper bag, cake crumbling in our mouths. When we'd arrived the night before, it was late, too late for the hotel restaurant or any place but a late night brasseria, all metal and colored plastic. Whatever we had to eat then, I don't remember. The other customers looked tired too. They'd either worked all day or been waiting to score all evening. I wanted that night in Barcelona to feel different, maybe an exotic scent in the air, but it was just cold and smelled like any other city. A wind from the Mediterranean turned corners and shifted the dust from one side of the street to another, climbing the mountains, then sliding back onto the same streets, moving the same dust. When we left the brasseria, it started to rain. We walked quickly by the Mercat de San Antoni without knowing what it was, just anonymous iron and brick, rain blowing in our faces. In daylight, it was different. We walked through the market and onto the wide avenues, plane trees white with green leaves lining the pavement, and the benches you liked were on every street. You said the bizcocho was the same cake you ate growing up in Colombia. Eggs, sugar, a little flour, yeast. We dug the last crumbs out of the bag, careful not to miss anything.
That's so wonderful.
Thank you. The other poem that I'm going to read is also a poem from Spain. It's called In the Afternoon at Las Dueñas. And Las Dueñas is a sort of rundown palace in Sevilla. And it's owned by the Duke of Alba still. And it's kind of halfway kept up. It has a beautiful garden. And Antonio Machado I think he was actually born there. He certainly lived there as a child. And he has a very famous poem about playing in that garden. And it starts with a quote from Lorca. I'll spare you my Spanish. It translates as I am no longer myself, neither is, and my house is no longer my house. Which is a lousy translation, actually. Just put that out there. It just really doesn't work. Bougainvillea grows purple on the wall, purple sunlight reflected on stucco, on the yellow clay of walkways between the orange trees. In the reflecting pool, I see the same white hair and beard, nose a little sunburned, face unprotected, puzzled, a lost dog. It's looking for its owner, but no one has come to claim it. The sun sinks lower than the rooftops, darkening the leaves of the orange trees. The purple bougainvillea sinks lower on the ground. Perhaps I've also turned purple in the shade of the orange trees, in the light of the bougainvillea. Unseen, this face moves lightly up the staircase, through the tiled hallways. It doesn't glance at the statues. It doesn't notice the paintings. The face does not belong to anyone now. The oranges it tasted were sour. They shined from the tree limbs, sour orange stars, in the daylight of the bougainvillea. The shade of green leaves, darker than black. The white wall of the convent that closed long ago. The patter of the ticket seller in the afternoon heat. Date palms taller than the house and the walls. In the heat of bougainvillea, shedding light like a dying star. In the acidic perfume of white blossoms. In the darkness of leaves and the yellow clay of walkways that twist through the garden, I raced to catch up with you, your pink blouse and scarf the color of roses, disappearing between orange trees and the last sunlight of the bougainvillea, between a fountain and a face that used to be mine. Thank you.
It's always so wonderful to hear you read, George.
Oh, Jane, thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. Jennifer, congratulations on your meaningful and beautiful book and on your recovery. Um, it's a really important book, but also a really wonderful book. So thank you for sharing that. I'm going to be sharing just one piece because it's a little bit longer, and I wrote it in a recent writing workshop I did, the Glen, which I'll put a link into, and it was based on a prompt, and I'd never kind of done that kind of thing before, so I'm very proud of it, but it's still a bit in the works and raw, so it's about caracal cats and kittens, so I have a link for that as well. And it is inspired, it's written after a really beautiful, well-known essay by Brian Doyle. The piece is called Consider the Caracal Kittens. Consider the caracal kittens, born blind, deaf, 200 to 250-gram clumps of maybe. Consider their first fatherless year. Consider how they turn formidable, solitary rock stars with iconic tufted ears. Consider their fully extended claws, how high they learn to leap. The word altricial, young born helpless requiring prolonged parental care, comes from the feminine form of the Latin altrix, nourisher. Mothers of caracal kittens den in abandoned burrows, produce litters of 1 to 6, have 10 to 12 months to transform their young. We have always known alchemy. The caracal kittens striking clear blue, green-gray eyes, open 1 week after birth, shift to a bright amber gold by 6 months. Incisors emerge. The camouflage underbelly fades, but first, their dense reddish-brown to tawny gold coat dapples like shadows and sunlight on grass, lacks adult uniformity. They look almost like miniature domestic kittens with larger, thicker paws and muscled, elongated hind legs built for future jumping. At 1 month old, they start to eat meat. Soon after, they learn to hunt and defend territory. For the chance to not die in their arid environments across Africa, the Middle East, and Central Asia, they develop spectacular vertical leaping ability. Each dead launch into 10 to 12 feet of air by their survival-powered bodies, a master class in biological engineering. Consider how their hip and thigh exterior muscles contract first, followed tightly by knee and calf muscles, and finally the ankle, rapid-fire, cumulative kinetic energy, the explosive takeoff velocity the caracal must generate according to the laws of projectile motion. Dampener systems based on their accordion-style joint bending protect sensitive space telescopes and rovers from shattering upon impact. Consider our own blunt fingers typing up papers on sequential muscle activation, high ground reaction force, and the feline writing reflex in orbit. How we long to achieve their easy biomechanical spring, leverage, and strength. Consider all the laws and lands we navigate as we apply the caracal mother's transmutation to propel our own space exploration and microgravity landers. And yes, the caracal kitten's famed black ear tufts, unflattened by week 4, stand upright, reveal long jet black fur antennae measuring up to 2 inches in length. These give the cats their human name, Karakulak, black ear in Turkish. We do not know what names they give themselves.
I am Simona, reading from Northern California. Congratulations, Jennifer, for the publication of your very important book. And thanks to all the readers who shared their wonderful poems. So I'm going to read a poem, 2 poems actually, that are about places that are next to each other outside my, just outside my hometown of Perugia. The first poem was published last year in Sheila-Na-Gig online, And the second poem it's unpublished and will be in my collection, which I'm very actively working on. Before our hike, we visit Monte Corona Abbey. The church door creaks open. Our steps resonate in the mid-afternoon silence. White light streams from high windows, expands the raised apse, distances the altar. We descend into the crypt, 5 naves, arches all around, each supporting column unique. We wander the worn flagstones, take refuge under the low ceiling, bricks infused with centuries of incense and prayer. I kneel on a side pew closer to earth, listen for a heartening breath or beat to blunt the hurt of our daughter's cancer and my husband's too, unwind the disease that seized our lives, so we wouldn't share the anguish, so I wouldn't know what keeps her awake. Oratory of the Monte Corona Hermitage. At first, the mind registers what it expects: a single nave, choir stalls on both sides, flagstone floor, 5 steps leading to the altar. A silence so deep, space is suspended in it. Out of the shadow, a light transfixes the icon above the altar. It glows bright as daybreak. On its golden surface, 3 figures emerge, haloed and winged, a trinity of angels around a table. A dove tied to a string hovers in front of the golden light, wings open in stationary flight. Faint echoes of prayers to the Virgin God-bearer, to Christ Pantocrator, diffuse from the stalls, soften the silence. The icon above the altar draws like a magnet. How did light get into the layers of tempera? Gathered elsewhere in the Hermitage, do the monks feel the presence of those who cross the threshold as a slight tear in the fabric, separating them from the world they care for from their cloister's distance? Illuminated from within, the image lifts the space and its visitors, escaping from vicissitudes, wounds, or punishing inner voices. Seekers of meaning wish and strive to believe it can be found in the golden glow, and they're tasked with carrying it down the path into the city, clashes, screams, rubble, a sweetness of honey on the tongue. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone who's read. This has been absolutely wonderful tonight. I'm Colleen Farrelly in Miami, Florida, and I'm going to read 2 poems that are coming out this fall. The Color of Home, not bright like a lime leaf turning under a harvest sun, not varied as winter waves clinging to moor's moss like valley fog furling around a stone fence at first dawn, not pale as cabbage stew, not graffiti green like slogans marring a memorial, or a Green Party blamed for another wave of hate sweeping through Belfast streets. Morning mist, kissing a clover, our crimson dew. And I'll translate the title of the second one, since it's in Irish. The title is Life is Strange. Under twilight stars, Grandpa says our family banshee wails in the Mulla bogs, now smothered in fog. An aunt lost young, he supposes. Tonight, thick dew falls over a field of ryegrass and white clover, and we linger a bit longer where our grandparents once hop-skipped under a glistening sky. Tonight, I think I hear a banshee screaming in the distance. Moonlit glow, a glint glides off barbed wire.
So my first poem is called Cocktails on the Patio, and it's in the summer issue of Sheila-Na-Gig. I just had cataract surgery and I never know when I need glasses or not. Cocktails on the Patio. The sound of their talk floats over my head, like words in a book I can't yet read. I only know letters and don't understand most of what grown-ups say, or why no one sees what my father's client is doing, his fingers beneath my dress, moving on me, as I sit on his lap in a crowd of my parents and their guests, everyone laughing and drinking cocktails outside in the sun, as my father barbecues T-bone steaks. The client's fingers keep pressing to the sound of their talk, and I think about telling, but the sky would split. So I just watch letters high on a cloud pile and crawl all over themselves like ants until they can form a black line, like words in a book, and march away. And the second one is from my book with Sheila-Na-Gig, Split Daughter of Eve, and it's called Cartographical. Oh, I didn't say who I was or where I was. I'm in Cold Spring, New York on the Hudson River. So, cartographical. First, the water, mother of all stories. The global ocean we can't cross on foot. Later, the problem of Thuringia and the mapping of the East. The many facts that bear repeating. Our need for cloudless nights to read stars, knowledge of where to find water, how to heal wounds with plants. We fan out, heads filling with mythical maps that can't see where we are. Walking in different directions for eons, you and I meet again, and I put you in charge of decor. You cover our walls with maps of the world, the heavens, ancient cities, the high Sierras. We can go anywhere from our couch, but we part once more without having dared to explore the dark. We've taken each other for maps. We've failed to hydrate enough. We can't keep going together. Thank you.
I think I'm next. I'm Wendy Schaffer. I live in New York City. I'm not really a poet, but starting in January of this year, I submitted a few poems for consideration, and one was accepted by Sheila-Na-Gig, so I'm really grateful. And thank you all for your readings. They're amazing. So I'm going to read two really short poems. The first one, this one was published in Consilience, which is a poetry sort of science journal, in I think April. It's called Nowhere Near Here is a Jabberwocky. From pheasants' gold and fragile skies, under a plate of cheap clouds named raw, simple loneliness, the river's miles clustered time, and cranes remove the weeds, all night birds, and now and then a harsh named tree. People thin and thistled with rich industrial jaws and claws, neglected night-smelling silence, where luminously wheat rested. Sun, joy, grain, suddenly dead. Hedges piled where water went ras. Doors, trolleys galumphing, fishy chortled red through scarfed desires, wives scattered up spires. Urban, thought he, reach of all. Beyond the slithy smog, flame blade and unfettered, swinging statues stood a two-bird day. And then the second one was published in 82 Star Review, and it's called Museum of the City of New York. Words of nature, harnessed, horses, park, where cars exhaust the atmosphere. A picnic without ants, this city, a museum to be seen by the trees who remark, there aren't enough stars, and wonder, is there an ethical way to kill a rat what if the thing that makes me most happy is a vacuum cleaner or a silver settee on the sidewalk? That's it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Wendy. Thanks for wrapping us up. We have been listening to Sheila-Na-Gig Online and Sheila-Na-Gig Editions authors and celebrating the recent publication, today recent, of Jennifer Schomburg Kanke's Little Stone, Little Stone. And you can find us at Sheila-Na-Gig blog.com, all of our books and our online journal.